Climate change is a hot topic at the moment. It's impacting many wine producing regions across the world. Mostly they are negative impacts, but there are some positives. I talk to the producers of Ribera del Duero about the climate chaos or the climate change that is occurring in their region and how it impacts them.
An obvious fact, the climate chaos or climate change is affecting in many places, and Ribera del Duero being extremely continental with big differences, it's going to be impactful. What is the region doing in order to safeguard itself against climate change?
Well, we are in a privileged place because of the altitude, but we have the opportunity to, as I said, to go back to the past because we have varieties like Garnacha Tinta, like Bobal, like Albillo Mayor that help us to keep the acidity, the freshness, no? To help Tempranillo. So everything is invented. we need to go back and look for the answers. No? And also, it's very important to work in the vineyards. Also going back to bush vines or gobelet, because that system help to the global to prevent the global warming. No? And also with the cover crops in the vineyards. No? So I think we have everything there. We have to really look for the tools, no, that we used to have.
Do you think these old vines are much more adaptable to the threat of climate change that's happening?
Oh, yeah. In our case, this global warming is becoming better because we are in a region where 60 years ago the conditions were a little bit too cold. Right now it's only cold, so it's better. It's better for us. But I feel, for example, the best expression of our wines they come in on cool vintage. Probably
Like
the cool.
21, for example.
Yes. Probably the customers prefers the warm vintage. They are more round, more silky. But for me, cool vintage they show better who we are and where we come from. So that's all.
Albillo Mayor, a grape variety grown in the Duero Valley since the Middle Ages. It's been approved in Ribera del Duero since 2021 as a standalone white grape variety making white wine. Typically in the past it was lost in red blends, but now it's making this comeback. I talked to some key producers in the region all about Albillo Mayor.
Could you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, my name is Amelia Aragon and I'm part of the Ciudad de Silos winery. We are a family-owned and run winery at the heart of Ribera del Duero in the province of Burgos. We are here today to talk about Albillo. Albillo is an indigenous grape variety that has always been in the area for centuries, even if not longer. So originally, Albillo was planted as scattered between the reds. So usually 5 vines of Tempranillo and 3 vines of Albillo, but it was up to the person planting the vines, the varieties. The varietal is delicate. It's a little bit like the land and the people. The Castilians is quite serious, but if you give it a little bit of love and care, it brings great stuff. It can be quite austere, but also if you pick it early and vinify it, particularly in concrete, it brings all the floral notes and it opens itself up and ages also really beautifully.
And you, of course, represent a portfolio,
Yes.
which has Silla de Silos at one side. Could you talk about the different expressions that you have with Albillo Mayor?
Sure. Tigardesilos is the family brand, and Dominio del Pidio is also part of that family on a more boutique project. So for Tigardesilos in our white, we gather white Albillo Mayor from all the areas around the winery. Our village is really small for Quintana del Pidio, but we harvest as well in Gumiel de Izan, La Aguilera. And Dominio is versus Dominio del Pidio, which is a village wine. Only vines, really old vines from Quintana del Pidio will go into the blend. Also with the Tigardesilos white, we will vinify in a still versus Dominio del Pidio, which will be vinified in concrete. And also there's a difference on the aging. So in Tigardesilos white, we will age in smaller barrels and third and fourth use, versus Dominio del Pidio, which will be new barrels, first and second year, but bigger. So the input with the oak of the wine is slightly less and probably more elegant, and it also used for longer living wines.
Well, one of the things of Albillo Mayor is very local in our area. In fact, it's the father of the Tempranillo. So always, since I was very little, I always heard that it was impossible to make a wine from Albillo Mayor. It would be not good enough to produce a monovarietal from Albillo Mayor. And we realized that I think we have very special soils in Ribera del Duero, like limestone, where the Albillo Mayor really shine by itself, no? So I think the good thing is to really choose the best soils for the Albillo Mayor, and in that way the Albillo Mayor has a great potential and is one of the great varieties in the world, I mean.
Could you talk about what you guys do with Albillo Mayor, which is trying to help the expression, because you do things a little bit different with the grape variety, and then how that translates to the style that you will find?
Yes, we have two vineyards. Both are located in the plateau, in the Páramo, so a lot of limestone. And so we pick a little bit earlier to have this good acidity, this good flavor from this kind of soils. And then we make a skin contact for 10 days, 8 days at low temperature, but to really have this skin character. And then we ferment in concrete and in big barrels, French oak. And we live in contact with the lees for 1 year, more or less. But the most important is that the reason to produce this wine is because it's in the plateau. So we really went to the plateau to plant Albillo Mayor because we knew that the limestone will give us a very salty character, no, in the Albillo Mayor, and this very elegant character. So that's the reason that we make the rest, no. So it's a wine from the place. It's not a wine that we think the method to do it, no. We adapt the method to the place.
And you said that you work a little bit with Albillo Mayor as well. Is this grape variety important, do you think, for Ribera del Duero, and what do you think it's like?
Okay, we use Albillo Mayor in all the wines because I think this touch of elegance and this touch of fluid, no, is very positive in the wine. And Albillo Mayor, like variety, is we need to use with more maturity wines and more power style, no, the wines. And Albillo Mayor now is you can use 15% in the wine in some of our wines. And this is, for us, is increase the quality, increase the idea that we need, so that we have for make the wines, no? And that's very, very positive for Albillo Mayor.
Fantastic. What is the grape variety like to work with in the vineyard?
For me, it's not a big difference working with Albillo than the Tempranillo, but I really experienced that in the sandy soils is when it spreads its greenness. because gives you some minerality and saltiness that it has another fields or grounds, but then it's a very likely variety to work with because it's very productive. So you can have very beautiful branches of grapes getting gold by the sun, and it's a very pleasant variety, but then it's as well gives you some hardness. It's more difficult because can give you some more problems or issues with the illnesses and the fungus, I mean, and it's because the skin is softness and more thin than the Tempranillo ones, but then it's a very productive vines and very easy to grow. They give you more satisfaction than maybe Tempranillo, but you can be careful with them and work it well as well. And we do everything certified in bio or ecological, so we need to be very careful with the illnesses and all of that. But working it properly, I think it's a super variety. But you need to work it then in the cellar properly, and as well as in the vineyard to get sun, not very green grapes. You need to leave it to ripe it well, and then in the cellar you have to be very careful because it's a variety that can give you some reduction and it's very oxidative at the same time, so you have to work it a bit more than the reds. The whites are more not maybe difficult but more challenging to produce than the reds.
Clarete in Spain. It's not a red, it's not a white, it's not a pink wine, it's Clarete. Now the wines resemble light red or dark pink styles. It's a blend of white and red grapes, typically from many regions in Spain, grown from old vines, and the juice will be co-fermented. So you'll find a lot of these in areas such as Ribera del Duero. And I talked to some key producers about Clarete, the revival of this style, and just how good it is.
So, Clarete.
Clarete.
You are a big fan of Clarete. Why do you think this is a style that needs to be revived, or maybe a style that people need to understand more?
Clarete is part of the identity of the history of Ribera del Duero, so it's our origin. So we need to really go back to our roots and to really put in value the Clarete style. Nowadays, with the global warming change, it shows us that we don't have to look for new varieties or new things from other places. We have in our place, and it's the Clarete style, made with a lot of different varieties, not only Tempranillo or Albillo Mayor, also Bobal, also Garnacha Tinta, also Garnacha Blanca, no? But we have the opportunity to really focus in the future with our roots, no? So,
and quite simply, could you tell people out there, consumer-wise, because they probably don't know what Clarete is, and in fact they might think it's something like a Bordeaux red because of claret. So could you quite simply describe what a Clarete is?
Yeah. The Clarete style is made in the vineyard. In the past, it was blended. The vineyards were blended with different varieties, reds and whites. And when it was the harvest, they harvest the vineyard. They go to the bodegas and they commacerate all these varieties, no? So the mast, it was clear, so Clarete. And this clear mast, that it was commaceration of whites and reds, it ferments in the underground cellar, and it was the wine that we normally drink in our area, no? And we sell, no? So it's a style of the vineyard, no? Because of the vineyard, the huge diversity that we had in the past, no?
Is Clarete something you think there should be more importance of in Ribera del Duero, and what is it for you, Father?
For me, it's the typical wine of my region that my grandfathers were buying and making for the family, and it's a mix. For me, the Clarete is what it comes from the Majuelo. It's a mix of grapes planted in the same vineyard, fermented together, and put it into a barrel. For me, Clarete has to be a mix of grapes, whites and reds, and put it into a barrel. It's not like some rosés, maybe only from reds, and then sell it young and that. For me, Clarete is a completely different. There are,
And that's interesting because your Clarete is more red.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
some people's are more white, and
Yeah.
some are more pink.
for sure. It's a bit controversial.
So the normal consumer, what would they expect when they see Clarete on the label? What should they expect?
They should know that Clarete in Ribera del Duero, it means a mix of grapes, whites and reds, and it should expect a mix in between a rosé, kind rosé and white, and a red. So something more sweetness, but with high acidity than a red, and something in between, but very delicate wine, very sweet, very without sugar content, but gives you some sweetness because it has not that much of tannins and that much of the structure, but it gives you some sensation of sweetness and delicacy that is very nice to enjoy, and you can have it not as cold as a white or a normal rosé, and as warm as a red. So it's a very versatile wine that you can have it almost any time as an aperitif or almost as a dessert, because that sensation of sweetness. And I think it's a little bit of my way, that what I understand of the tradition where the wine was making with all the grapes in the vineyard from the Majuelos that were mixed the grapes in the vineyards, and then put it into directly press it the same day and then put it into the barrel, and then to keep it protected. So it's a little bit what I understand of Clarete, but well, that's my opinion and my way of doing my wines.
Muchas gracias. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Altitude in Ribera del Duero is very, very important. Vineyards lie typically somewhere between 700 to 1,000 meters, and sometimes even beyond that. I talked to some key producers in Ribera del Duero about the importance of altitude and how it impacts the wines made there.
Okay, so introduce yourself.
Okay, I'm Cesar Mate. I'm from Bodegas Marta Mate, the winemaker and the owner, and I'm here. This is my winery, my one flagship winery, my wine, and that's it. Okay.
So, you guys are located in a very interesting part of Ribera del Duero. You're away from the Golden Mile. You're up in the Burgos province. Could you talk about the importance of that location specifically around altitude?
Yes, for us is the most important now. The new generation understand that the altitude is very positive for the make another wide styles wine. Understand that the people needs another style, another kind of wines in the market for enjoy difference, no, different foodie and different and the acidity, the freshness, the agility of the wines, no, in mouth. And for us is now very positive because we understand that they have Ribera del Duero have a lot of wines, power, fulgori, and deep color, no, and this is positive. But we understand that the market needs, and the people needs another style.
What does the high altitude mean for acidity, for color, for tannin? How does that impact your style of your wine?
Yeah, the acidity is very, for me, is the passport for eternity in a wine. No? I think it's the key, no? One of the key, no? The acidity. I'm in love with acidity of wines. It's very important. No? We need it, and the altitude is the most important characteristic for this acidity. No? This slow maturity with this altitude needs preserve this acidity. Don't change, and the alcohol the wines are less sweety, but need this, no, for increase the quality, in my opinion. I mean,
And then in the Soria province where you're
Yeah.
based, altitude-wise, is this something
Yes.
that is very important for you?
Absolutely, absolutely. Altitude is going to make the climate a little bit more harder, more cooler, but also has this factor that makes the nights during the summer, they are really, really cold. I mean, we could be 30 degrees during the day, but nights could be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 degrees. So we have a lot of nights under 10 degrees. The vines under 10 degrees stop working. They don't ripe. They stop, they refresh, and in the morning they are ready just to work a little bit. So they don't lose acidity. They don't burn acidity during the night. So we need more nights and days to arrive to the finish. But when we arrive, we have the bag full of acidity. So that's the point for me. That changed completely the style. The freshness we can have in these Soria vineyards, it's something that everybody in Ribera del Duero is looking for.